It's been a beautiful week here in California. So let's consider this week a baseline. This is how the horses are going now. I'm going to show you both Picasso and Aries because both are different and have different things to work on. More learning for you and me. Picasso is almost 10 years old and has a defect in both stifles. And by defect, I mean he has a giant hole at the end of each femur bone. He's had 2 surgeries and is sound when he is fit. Right now, he is not fit. So although he isn't limping lame, he's also not moving correctly either. It always takes him a little while to warm up and de-stiffen, so I always allow him plenty of leeway when I first get him out. Get a nice walk, and then a gentle trot. This week, I focused on getting nice transitions between gaits and pleasant movement with the head and neck out and low. I am aiming to keep the eye around hip level. If his eye is much above that, he is raising the neck too much and dropping his back, and out goes that hind end. When getting Picasso back into shape, I don't ask him to repeat very much. Once or twice and we move on, even if we didn't get it exactly how I wanted it. He doesn't have the strength to carry himself fully, so if I get a few good steps or a nice balanced transition, that's good enough. Here he halts with a pretty high neck. Just one of the things we will work on. I also want him to be square. I'll discuss the many adventures in getting Picasso to square up later. And now, to go right. I remember several years ago watching Manolo and wondering, how do I get the horse's head down without pulling it down? Like magic, these horses would lower their heads for him. I'm still not exactly sure how he does it, but the way I ask for it is to experiment until I get it. I will put some gentle pressure on the cavesson, asking for some flexion, ask for a little more step, or maybe slow him down. Just change little things until he lowers his head and neck, and then I try to keep it. If I lose it, I fiddle around again until he does it. The same goes for getting better transitions. Sometimes I ask too quickly and he drops into the trot. Okay, let's try that again. I go back and try to ask less urgently and see what I get. Lucky for me, Picasso is a great horse to learn with. He's honest, and more importantly, he's forgiving. So before Picasso's second surgery, my vet worked a lot with us and said, you need to teach him to stand square because right now, he won't. When Picasso is sore or achy, he doesn't like to stand square. I have to work on it. I tap each foot until he squares up. I let him stand like that for a little bit, then I walk him out. It's just like the rest of training. Don't ask for too much too soon. He doesn't have the strength to hold it. And now for Aries. Aries is actually quite lazy. He is reactive, but lazy. It's an interesting combo because I have to ask gently, but firmly. I find I sometimes don't ask enough or too hard. It's a balance I am still looking to attain. So my homework with Aries this week was also good transitions and pleasant movement, with his head and neck out and low. Aries is usually stiffer to the left, which can be seen by his higher head carriage. As with Picasso, I fiddle around changing things slightly until I see a change in Aries. This day, I struggled to get him to maintain a decent forward movement. It almost seemed to me like he was on the verge of melting into the ground. You can't hear it, but he was dragging his hind feet quite a bit. So I did things like run with him to get him going. After a few circles of trot, I asked for some walk transitions. Again, not too many, just a few. When he was a bit unbalanced about it, I tried again, asking slightly differently. I am again looking to get his eye about hip level. Once he was going all right, I increased the trot and asked for the canter. He was quite willing to give it. This is impressive, coming from a horse that I had to practically beg and plead with to get the canter just a few months ago. It's still unbalanced and not all that relaxing to look at, but you gotta start somewhere. After a couple of circles, down to trot, and then walk. I then tied up Aries' tail so I could use the bamboo more effectively on his legs. His tail is so thick that it blocks the bamboo pole. To the right, Aries is more relaxed, has better carriage in general, a lowered head and neck, and a relaxed eye. We endeavored to get that on the left as well. I like to go off the circle in straight lines sometimes as well. Balance the straight with the curved. Aries was a bit cheeky while cantering this direction. He wanted to be a bit expressive, and I let him. For this horse, tossing his head and darting around a little are huge displays of emotion, so I encourage it whenever he does it. He also is getting more demanding in other areas. He will stomp a foot or toss his head while standing tied. And my personal favorite, when he is done with his grain, he picks up his dish and throws it at me. More, please. It's hard to convey a feeling to you over video, but today, Aries felt like he was happy and eager. I had him trot a little more, then had him walk out, and finally stop. His head is high here, add it to the list, but he did move his leg when I asked. I gave both boys another session and a day off before filming again. Time off is the most underrated part of training. But today, I was smart. I started out with the lunge whip, which I knew they both would be more responsive to. Once they were going, I would switch to the bamboo. Picasso is a cheeky, sassy horse. I have never discouraged his desire to play and be silly. It's one of his finer qualities. That being said, he can be very frustrating sometimes when he knows what I'm asking and does something entirely different, just for fun. Rather than get upset, I call him some choice names and redirect his exuberant energy. Sometimes getting him to focus is like herding a cat. But when he is focused, I've never had a horse give so much of his heart to me. Picasso will go above and beyond his ability just to please me. I have to be careful with him and not ask for too much, especially when he is so willing to give it. He will hide his pain, and put on a good face. Picasso is a sensitive, though lazy, horse. So when I ask for transitions, I have to be very gradual and gentle. His desire to please and get it right is so strong that he will do something abruptly if asked too quickly. Each horse requires something different and unique from us. It's been a challenge for me to change and sculpt myself to fit what each horse needs. But at the same time, it's also been fun. Here I am playing with asking for some different steps from Picasso. I first tap the inside hind leg as it leaves the ground. You can see he flexes the leg more and reaches it forward. Just ask for a few steps, then leave him alone. Here, we both got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Once again, Picasso giving a little bit more than was asked for. Careful not to ask that much again, I tapped the hind legs and got a few nice steps, and then let him be, and sent him out on a bigger circle. He stopped with his head high again. This horse and I have such a good relationship. I just wiggled the line and asked him to lower his head, and he did. Sweetheart horse. And now for the redhead. We've been perfecting our straight line walks, and Aries is keeping good distance instead of coming to me like he used to. Today, starting with the lunge whip, it was easier to get Aries going. This made for one less thing that I had to worry about. I concentrated more on how he moved than just keeping him moving. Here, my transition was, well, lacking. He popped into it. So we drop down and try again. His canter departs were much less jumbled and anxious today. He is gaining better balance and better skill with cantering on a circle, something I doubt he ever did in the wild. Video is a great tool to see how you and your horse are doing. Every week, I not only comb through it all to pull the clips that I want to show to you, but I get to review everything and see all the mistakes and successes I had during the week. If you get the opportunity, I highly recommend having your lessons or sessions with your horse filmed. I keep Aries' cantering light and short for now. Like Picasso, he doesn't have the strength to carry it. Picasso used to canter just like Aries, and it has taken him years to get a better canter. I tie up Aries' tail again so that we can play with tapping his hind legs. I just tapped the inside hind to get some more out of it. Just a few steps, then done. Here I used the bamboo pole to keep Aries straight while I asked him to halt. Notice how when I lowered it, he turned. I probably should have kept it up longer until he was more settled into the halt. That's for next time.